I love Violet Evergarden. It's my second favorite show of all time, and as the title suggests, I've rewatched it a few times. I've never been able to properly explain to myself just why exactly I've come back to the show so often, but after thinking about it in recent times, I've come to realize it's because Violet Evergarden is a beautiful story about the hardships of turning emotion into communication. So allow me to tell you about it for a little bit. I know it's a very different video style from usual, but I hope you'll stick around. Violet Evergarden takes place in Leidenschaftlich, a country that looks early 1900s Europe inspired and picks up a few months after the 4-year Grey War, a World War I equivalent to that world. Now, I'm not here to tell you everything that happens in the show, but the context here matters because Violet's whole character and occupation doesn't make sense in a different historical setting. Here, the people are still feeling the scars of war. They've all lived through it. People have lost family and loved ones. People don't know what the future has in store for them, and ways of communicating aren't as solid as what we have today. There's no instant way to communicate to anyone far away, and a person back in the countryside might as well be living on another planet. That's just how disconnected you could truly be. Sending letters has been for centuries the main way we try to bridge the gap, putting our ideas, feelings, regards on paper, trusting that they will be delivered and hopefully reach the other, with no real guarantee about it. It is in many ways a distant world to us, but this was how people lived up until 100 years ago, and that's the world of Violet Evergarden. The setting is beautifully portrayed in many ways, the art for the show is gorgeous, everything from the city to the clothing doesn't feel like a random mess of European inspiration, but like an actual clear study has been done. Kyoto Animation did an amazing job, and even though I'm no animation expert, nor I can really draw if I'm being real, I did want to put just a little emphasis on the visual work that has been done here because it's truly outstanding. But now let's bring our focus back to the letters. Letters were really important to people, as I've said prior, as a means to bridge the gap between people. And in this show, we have a profession connected to it, not on the logistical side like a postman, even though they of course still exist here, but on the side of the actual content of the letter themselves. And this is the profession of the auto-memoir doll. These dolls serve as an intermediary figure between the sender and the letter itself, as they would help write the letters not only for people who didn't happen to be literate, but mainly to those who do not know what to write themselves. And you might ask, what do you mean you want to write a letter but don't know what to write? Well, we've probably all been there actually. There's something you need to say to someone. Maybe it's bad news. Maybe it's a confession that is embarrassing to say. Or maybe at that point in time you're just overwhelmed with emotions. But in the end, the result is the same. You do not know which words to use. And so why is that, even though we use words all the time and should be automatically experts through sheer repetition? It's because words carry with them emotions and meanings. Emotions that can absolutely be a nightmare to put out as words, and meanings that you hope reach the other in the way that you intend. Therapists get professional training to help us do that consistently. It's a tool that a lot of us unfortunately do not possess, but we all need. A way for our feelings to effectively become words and be communicated properly. That's what a doll does. That's what Violet decides to become. But who is Violet? To answer that, we're gonna have to go into a little bit of spoiler territory for the first few episodes, but I swear it's important, so do not go away or go watch the show. Either one is good to me. Violet was a young girl raised for the sole purpose of decimating enemy lines as a soldier. After the end of the war, due to her circumstances, she starts a new life working as CH Postal Services. And there, by pure chance, she witnesses the work of a doll, who is able to effortlessly understand the word "I love you." The same words left to her on the last day she'd seen Major Gilbert, the only figure that had been good to her up until then, and in turn she was the most devoted to. Violet, a girl with seemingly no emotions at the beginning, over this 13-episode run plus 2 movies, grows into someone that can be trusted with ever-increasingly hard cases to articulate into letters, and in turn keeps discovering more and more about herself. It is not without difficulty for her, as communication isn't just an act of obligation or exchanging of information like we see Violet tend to do at the beginning due to her upbringing in a military environment. It can be, but it's also an act of care towards the receiver, and I'd like to think that you'd care a lot to send a letter to someone else, waiting months and months for a possible and not guaranteed delivery and maybe return. And communication, just like people, is often counterintuitive. We see this in episode 2. A woman comes in wanting to play hard to get towards a man that was courting her. She gets a letter written by Violet, who still couldn't understand or read between the lines, and pens an extremely blunt letter that rejects him and has her offended, as this wasn't what she wanted at all. She just wanted to be chased a little and actually loved the man. And you could say that she was simply playing stupid games that got a stupid prize, and that's true to an extent. And as a kid, I probably would have agreed with you 100%. Like, imagine not being logical all the time and saying exactly what you mean, am I right? But in reality, that's just how humans are. Illogical. We don't always say what we mean, we don't always do what we say, and that's fine. That doesn't make any of our emotions any less valid or worth being heard. And that's why she's so upset, because her true feelings did not get through to him. And now she's lost any chance at something that she really wanted. Of course, there's the Violet variable to account for, but that's above all what communication is. Me trying to send you a message that has a meaning. Not just the words we say, but the meanings that we carry with it. And Violet has to learn that, and seeing this growth, as well as seeing the clients themselves satisfied with their emotions finally being articulated in a way that resonates with them, is incredibly cathartic. I wish I had a Violet Evergarden, a good auto memoir doll to sort my feelings out when I was going through shit in my life, and I'm sure some of you might too. And this is why the show, while sad and often deals with heavy themes, I don't think particularly tries to get tears out of you. They will come out, don't get me wrong, but it is because the emotion feels earned. Those emotions that we see them struggle with getting out there finally take the shape of a letter, and a lot of times you just can't help but feel it too. As much as I love this show, I'd be lying if I sat here and told you that this show changed my life and my views on communication and human emotion all at once. And no, it didn't. Even with the greatest of media, it's hard that one will change your life from one day to the next. And honestly, at age 16, whenever I watched this, I was definitely not completely aware of everything that I'm relaying to you guys today. But over the years, I kept coming back, finding different parts of the show that were more relatable and more felt as I grew and had more experiences. I'm at age 21 now, and I'll definitely find more things to think about in regards to this show if I really look for them. But I think the one thing that stayed true in all these years is that I could see myself in Violet. At age 16, it was a lot more subconscious, but I definitely understood the earlier Violet that found human emotions complicated and perplexing, perhaps even alien, and I could relate to not understanding how to express myself about certain things. But I would definitely never have admitted to myself that in that period of my life. And I still today can see myself in her. In the slightly later Violet, I can see how far I've come in regards to connecting, talking to people, not fucking going nonverbal every time somebody new shows up, and perhaps 5 years from now, on my 8th rewatch, I'll find something new to say. Like, comment, and subscribe. I've been Tomoyou, and thank you for making it to the end of the video. Mwah!